Welcome to Around the Hearth, a Hearthstone podcast brought to you weekly.
Hello everybody and welcome to episode 48 of Around the Hearth, a Hearthstone podcast thrown together by a bunch of Worgen who hope that Ben Brode is okay. So, today we have, well, a full complement. So we've got DES Adam in the house.
Hello.
We got Evil Squirrel.
Woo! I'm back. I missed you guys. So good to be back.
We missed you too, man. And of course, back for 2 weeks at ZT Dubs. Hey
Back
guys.
for good, yo. What's up, guys?
So guys, let's talk about our weeks in Hearthstone before we get into the big stuff. Adam, how was your week?
Well, of course, before we start with that, though, we always got to give up our shout-outs to our Patreons. So I want to thank, as always, Louise and Beardy Man for supporting the show. If you're interested in supporting the show, please go to patreon.com/aroundthehearth. We have some cool rewards and things, and it would definitely help go a long way. So thank you so much. And to all the people who have done Twitch subs as well since last show, thank you so much. Now, without further ado, let's get on over to Adam, and let's talk about our weeks in Hearthstone, because we do have something else we need to get to.
Oh, yeah.
Ooh, yeah. We might have something to talk about. Week in Hearthstone, again, was pretty quiet. I am doing some event planning. I did mention it last week for a really, really big Hearthstone tournament at the end of April, which may be more exciting than I envisioned based on certain newses. But I will definitely make sure to drop more information about that in the next show, as I don't want to take away any kind of luster from what we have in store for you guys. This weekend, actually, I have a free tournament coming up that I'm hosting in order to play into that big tournament, or to get free entry. So I've been doing a little bit of planning with that and marketing it and stuff. So hopefully that's going well. But otherwise, as far as playing the game, I pretty much played the Tavern Brawl. I did a little bit of my Card of the Week homework, and that was about it. Dubs, I think you've been busy this week, haven't you?
Oh, man, yeah. So the Dubstone Classic Wild Tournament was this weekend. It was a great success. You know, we had a lot of viewers. It's great competition. It was a really good time. We had Bobson and EK on casting. And if you guys want to, watch the VODs, you just head up to my Twitch channel /ZTDubs. Give it a watch. It's very good, very fun. So, yeah, that's all I did. Prepping for that. That was a lot of work. But we got through it, and it was awesome. So.
Yep. It was a long tournament, especially when you have to be talking and enthusiastic for the entire way through it.
Yeah.
I can see why people at big events they stick to casting maybe just the finals a lot of the time.
Yeah.
But it was a very enjoyable event. I highly recommend checking out the VODs. We will be posting links to all of that, and you can hear my wonderful dulcet tones. Just try and pretend I know what I'm talking about when it comes to WoW. Yeah,
Cool.
but besides that, right, my own week in Hearthstone was moderately uneventful. I got my NA legend last week because
Nice job.
because Murloc Paladin is just really, really silly in standard right now.
Yeah, I heard you teamed up with Steffi. I heard you teamed up with Steffi for a run on that.
Yeah, no, Steffi was me and her were in a cool, just doing some co-op laddering. I was just playing some Murlocs, hit a ridiculous win streak. I went like 12-3 with Murloc Paladin to hit legend.
That's pretty good.
Yeah, deck's pretty dumb. And then we tried to play the exact same deck on her account and just couldn't win a single game.
Aww.
That's how it
Poor
goes.
Steffi.
So that is the way the cookie crumbles. Besides that, I had a pretty substantial casting weekend. Cast Dubstone Classic, obviously on Saturday. That was a good 7 hours. And then had another few hours casting some THL last night. And I've also entered So You Think You Can Cast by Blizzard. So
Oh, nice.
Very sweet. Nice.
maybe I'll be casting Blizzard events any day now, but that is hopeful.
Well, it would be great. I mean, it would be awesome to have that opportunity. So definitely good luck to you on that.
It would be pretty sweet. But anyway, how about you, Screw? How was your week in Hearthstone? Or just your week in general?
We could say like my day in Hearthstone. I went on the vacation from hell this week, and so there was not much Hearthstone to be played. There wouldn't have been if it was the vacation that was awesome, but yeah. So I played a lot today. And it was Kingsbane, Rogue, variants, all sorts of types. I really enjoy playing Kingsbane Rogue. It's a lot of fun.
Just the weapon.
Yeah, it is. It's just fun and just so many ways to do it. Like I got it up to 18 against a quest priest today, and so like they dropped.
That's an interesting match.
They dropped Reno, and I was like, okay, well, I have an 18-3 sword. I'm okay, and then
I can deal with that in 2 turns.
Yeah, then they drop a Mara, and I was like, okay, well, I'll just power my way through her, and I wound up winning because you just really can't stop 18 points of damage a turn, and 18 healing at the same time. Yep. So it's been fun, but I unfortunately haven't done my homework for anything else. So that was my week in Hearthstone. But let's not waste our time on that anymore. Let's get into a little bit of news before we have some big news that just dropped today. So why don't we send it over to Dubs? What's been going on this week before today, Dubs? What's been going on?
All right, so I don't know if you guys remember at BlizzCon, people there picked cards for Arena. Each class got 1 card. There's a lot of voting going on. So really soon, I don't know if they announced exactly the date, but those cards will be going.
Oh, they're live.
I actually did a full Arena run just before the show with the new drafting rules, and I did get to see some of the cards in action.
How impactful were they?
The Rogue one is really annoying. So let's get these cards up on screen and just show them what they are. So the Rogue one is Rogue one's one of the ones I saw. 1 mana, basically mini conceal, targeted. Can make things quite awkward. One thing I will say about the new Arena drafting rules, where things are done by power rather than by rarity, is they seem to be a little bit off with regards to legendaries.
Well, they said legendaries are going to be their own thing regardless.
Yes, but so because it was the new rules were in place and they were very new, I did this run. I did a Warlock run and I got to 11 wins, and at 8 wins and at 11 wins, I played against the same guy twice.
Wow, really?
He had 6 legendaries.
Oh, were they good?
I'll just tell you what the legendaries he had. Lich King, Sogoth, Deathwing, Corrupted Hogger, Master Oakheart, and Beardo.
Well,
Jeez.
I would say within like the first 3 were enough to win to get you through an arena, even just alone. The rest of them are just like icing on the cake.
Yeah,
that's pretty hard to do.
And then he had Oakheart with a Tar Lord in his deck and 2 Bloodhoof Braves.
Oh God!
I was just like, I came so close.
It's like you got it, dude.
Yeah, no, it's like I had drafted an incredible like control Warlock deck, like a couple of spell stones, lots of board clears, lots of really high impact demons, like against any kind of. Like, the only way I was going to lose was against a really, really fast aggro deck, which was the first game I played. I lost to a Hunter, or against a ridiculously greedy control deck. And then I come up against the same one twice. So I only got to 11-3 in that run. But
that's a nice run, though.
Yep, some of the cards do seem very good. But some of them do seem incredibly bad. I am looking in particular at the Warlock one.
Yeah, I guess there's some bad demons you can get.
There are a lot of them. The Shaman one looks absolutely nuts, though I didn't play against any Shamans. If you get offered that,
skip your turn.
If you get offered that, take it.
Well,
it's so good.
If you get that and anything that, Well, if you get that or anything that resets your crystals, just do it. Just do it.
Something like you can drop a couple of Divine Shield dudes, play this, it's free, and then you just skip your next turn, but you still have a board and they don't.
I mean, you could just play the minions after you play the spell.
That's also true. I was thinking about that. Yeah.
That seems like it would be better.
Yeah. Yes, much better. I was thinking for some reason that like overload happened immediately. That's not true.
That's not true.
Shaman's good. Rogue's good. Warrior's fairly good. Warlock's really bad. But Arena did seem quite a lot of fun. The drafting process is a lot more strategic now. Like, you can actually kind of build deck archetypes rather than just pick the good cards.
That's
like
cool.
I was able to kind of build a control deck, kind of just going, okay, I'm going to pick the value or the removal, and I really liked it on my first run. Probably going to be playing a little bit more Arena going forward.
So yeah, so what other? So Dubs, do you want to elaborate on some of the changes other than the power level thing? What else was there?
Yes, I mean, just like I said, the power levels are equal now. So what they're going to do is picks 1, 10, 20, and 30 are guaranteed to be rare, quality, or better. So, with the equal power levels, if you get rares, they're all going to be the same power level. You're not going to get like Blizzard and I don't know, some really crappy rare. They're going to be really powerful together, except for legendaries. All the legendaries, you can get like Millhouse, you can get Lich King. Because legendaries are just legendaries in that.
Yeah, they're all in the same pool. So enjoy drafting Shifter Xeris.
Who doesn't love Shifter Xeris?
That's pretty much it for Arena. I mean, I'm definitely be playing a lot more Arena because I enjoyed playing Wild Arena, and these changes are going to make it much better. I think.
I think it's good that they at least tried it, and they're at least trying to do new things, because yes, they tried the whole synergy pick and it failed miserably. But you know what? They tried it, and I think that really shows that Blizzard's really paying attention, especially to arena only players. That it's keeping it fresh for them, and for anyone else who played as well. So big props to Blizzard for that.
It does feel fresh. There is one thing that we have actually missed out, and I think it's quite an important one. Blizzard have temporarily disabled the occurrence bonus for the most recent set.
Oh, that's right.
So you're not going to be seeing any more kobolds and catacombs cards than you are from any other set, and I quite like that. The occurrence bonus has kind of warped things a little in the past, and now it's just.
Man. Don't remind me of when
Firelands Portal is the one we're all
so
thinking of.
Common. It's like common. Many things from One Night in Karazhan.
I remember like 3 turns in a row I got Firelands Portal, and I was like, all right.
I was like, you got it, dude.
Yeah. All right, so let's go ahead and move on. Let's keep things going. China region is getting a Hearthstone companion app. So this is going to have inside it stat tracking, debt tracking, and replay. So it's kind of like HS Replay, but it's a companion app. And I don't know if this is going to be ever coming out to anyone except China region. They seem to be getting a lot of the cool stuff. But what do you guys think? Because I mean, they have access to HS Replay, I assume.
Yeah, this is already in place in China, actually, from what I heard. They're already using it, which is kind of crazy, but it's also a first-party app.
Yep.
So that means that...
Blizzard
So
China
that means...
seems to be pretty weird. Like, Blizzard... Hearthstone China has had something like a tournament mode since 2016, I discovered this week. An in-client tournament mode. So, judging by that, there will probably be no plans for this to come over anytime soon, which is pretty
Hearthstone in China goes to like a different company or something like that.
Yeah, it's not...
They regulate all this stuff.
Yeah, it is like through Blizzard, but not really, I guess. There's another company that deals with all the Blizzard games in China. That's what I've heard, because that company actually owns the Shanghai Dragons, which is the Overwatch League team. So I think it's just the company that distributes the Blizzard games. They're not obviously not the publisher or the developer.
Correct. They're just basically, due to Chinese regulations, they have to go through all of through basically their own people, and which allows them to do all these things if Blizzard wants to sell their product. So that's what they do. And yes, they did receive some sort of app that gave basic functionality, like it told you your highest rank ever achieved and things like that. But what now they're adding in all these other things like stat tracking, which was just they had, but more in depth, the deck tracker and the replay. So this is amazing. And they, like you said, there also was that tournament mode, but it was very, very, very wonky the way that it was thrown together. So it's nothing like what I hear is going to be in the works for how they're going to release it stateside when it does come. But we can only hope that,
or everywhere else.
Yeah, or we can only hope that these come to stateside or wherever you might be sometime soon.
Yep, and obviously I think as these things will be coming directly from Blizzard rather than this other party, I think there will be like Blizzard holds themselves when it comes to coding in very high esteem. They are known to be very good at what they do, and they take a lot of care when it comes to maybe not individual game balance, but when it comes down to the actual code of the game and its functionality, they're always very, very stringent.
Yeah,
So,
which is why the last patch went so successful for them. Anyway,
that was different.
Listen. Let's not point fingers and blame who for doing what.
Anyway, why don't we
Blizzard
move
on this show?
We do. That was just a mess. Okay, so Dubs, why don't we move on to the
So next thing we just want to talk about, we want to apologize. The last 2 weeks in a row, we've said, hey, the developers are going to be putting on a stream talking about, the new set. Didn't happen. We really pride ourselves in being a credible source for news and everything. And I blame our former intern Brad for that.
Yeah. He has since been sacked. We are currently seeking new interns. Please apply at aroundthehearthpodcast@gmail.com.
He's gone. But yeah, we sort of, obviously we have some big news to talk about, so it happened eventually. But we do sort of apologize for saying on Monday it's going to happen and not happen the whole week. So.
Yep. It just didn't happen. We were expecting it, and then it just didn't happen, and we were just as sad as you. But, well, I have a little bit of news relating to Around the Hearth rather than Hearthstone. Starting from this week on, we are going to be putting the show up on YouTube as well as on Soundcloud, iTunes, all the audio forms. So if you are one of the people who we have had some people asking, can I just watch the show rather than listen to it? And so we've heard those people. I am learning the most basic of video editing, and we are going to try and put together a nice video format for you all to watch if you are unable to catch the stream live.
When we say thrown together, we mean thrown together.
Yeah.
This podcast has been a learning experience for us all.
Yeah.
We've come a long way, and this is the next step, guys.
And speaking of which, also I want to say that to 1 year of Around the Hearth, so little tease here. There might be an anniversary show coming up soon, so keep your eyes and ears peeled to our social media, and we'll let you know about that.
Oh, definitely. It's going to be fun.
For sure.
So if you would like to be notified of that, make sure you subscribe to our YouTube channel. It is, like everything else, called Around the Hearth, and you may find us on there, although we're pretty low down the search bar results, so
But make sure you hit that subscribe button and that notification bell, so you know that when we put a new content, you're the first person to know.
Yep.
You can also always subscribe to us on Twitch as well, but that's a different story.
Yep. Just subscribe to us on everything possible.
Yeah,
I feel like that is the correct play.
Make us part of your life.
Yep.
In every possible way. Not creepy whatsoever.
Yes.
Okay. All right.
We were talking about We were promising live streams. We were wrong. And it turns out that there was a reason why. Last week, Dave Kosak, one of the senior developers at Hearthstone, he tweeted this picture, this wonderful picture, saying he was off into the great outdoors in search of creative inspiration. And then Dave Kosak went missing. So off went Ben Brode and Ben Thompson, 2 more senior members of Team 5, and they too disappeared without a trace.
We could have sent the interns, though.
Yep, we blame the intern. We blame Brad for this.
Yeah, you're definitely fired now, Brad. Good job.
So, Young Woo, the final senior member of the team, tweeted last night that he had found some lost footage on... it was a lost camera where they were supposed to be. And we cannot play the footage for you, but what we do have is some of the recovered audio. So, if you're ready for some sick tunes.
This poor town has seen its share of trials. Now we face a new force, sinuous and vile.
Something wicked, twisting trees and turning them to will. Some diabolic expertise strives to break our will.
Do my eyes play tricks on me? Will monsters seal our doom? What were those things?
What did I see?
Hiding in this gloom. We're turned around and taunted, but moonlight is our friend.
The way ahead is haunted, our hackles stand on end.
We'll make our stand right here, our choice is crystal clear. We are the beasts, the monsters fear.
That is right. We have had an announcement about what the expansion is going to be, ladies and gentlemen.
All right.
That
I'm
was
very excited about this.
genuinely quite impressive.
Yeah,
Welcome to Witchwood. Well, at long last, the expansion has finally been revealed, and it is the Witchwood. It was announced today. The new expansion. It has motifs of classic Victorian horror and monsters, exploring the dark forest and things that go bump in the night, being loosely based on the WoW region of Gilneas. So, of course, Worgans. Super excited. What do you guys think? I mean, what initial impressions? Initial impressions.
I
I am
love
very
the theme.
excited.
Yeah, me too. I'm really glad they went with this instead of like the Emerald Dream thing.
I realized it was, I think, Check Cloud tweeted it. What he said the theme most reminded him of, and I completely agree, is Bloodborne.
That's a good point. Kind of does.
Yeah, you know, werewolves, kind of gothic horror type stuff. It's just a really cool theme, and it's a lot easier to get excited about this than, say, Dungeons of Dragons. Like, there's a lot more appeal.
Yeah, sure.
There
There was a really cool trading card game I used to play when I was age. Did anyone ever play that?
I did play that actually.
Yeah, it was called. Yeah, it was a werewolf-based game, so that kind of nice nostalgic memories of that as well. So, I love
the fact that a werewolf has a silver bullet on his body to hunt other werewolves.
They're aware that they're bad werewolves.
They're werewolves.
Yeah.
Well, the Worgans, bad Worgans. Although I don't think silver bullets kill Worgans in WoW lore.
I don't know. I mean,
No,
he's got him on him.
He's got him.
he is fine. So we can assume that Worgen are not affected by silver.
Yeah.
I mean, he
So
has
I
a
was
silver earring, so
I'm super excited about it. The cover there is really cool. I loved the video that they put out. That was the big long. It was like a 7-minute long video. So if you haven't seen it, please go check it out. Just you can check out Play Hearthstone Facebook page. I'll take you right to it. It was really cool.
We'll put it up. I've got to say, I loved the acting in it from Dave Kosak.
Yeah.
It was fantastic.
The acting was great, but even the references. There was the Blair Witch Project reference in there. There was what was Insidious? Is that movie with the projector, that really creepy projector? So there was some really cool references. If you caught them, I really liked it. So very, very well done. So as they were traipsing through the woods, they released some cards, which we will talk about very, very soon. And on those cards, we saw some new mechanics. Oh, yeah. Of course, every expansion brings you new mechanics. So the first one that they showed is called Rush. Rush is basically charge, but can only attack minions the turn that they're played. Very similar to Charged Devilsaur's Battle Cry. So basically, it's my opinion that this is going to be the end of charge, because they're going to make things rush so that you can't abuse them, like for example, Doom Guards, Charged Devilsaurs, anything you could resurrect for 2 mana and get it charging right at you. I think they're going to change a lot of things to rush. I think nerfs are going to come to make things rush. So what do you guys think?
So you think they're going to retcon some stuff with charge, is what you're saying? They're trying to rush?
I think Doom Guard is like 90% going to happen. I'm not sure about something like Charged Devilsaur.
Yeah, I think if you do it to Charged Devilsaur, it kind of nerfs the card in a big way.
Yeah, no, so go ahead.
Doom Guard, I can
loved
see...
when,
Oops, go on, Dubs. Sorry.
I was saying, I love the fact, when in the video, he's like, "Do you understand the design ramifications of this? It's Rush. There's so much more stuff now."
But no, Ben Thompson's great in the video because he's just like, "Yeah, dude, I get it." He's just like, "Shut up, bro."
My question is, what happens to cards that are supposed to be big finishers, like Leroy Jenkins and King Crush and stuff like that?
I think they stay. I think that basically what Rush allows them to do is print more charge cards without them being abused. And it, like Ben said, it allows them design space. It allows them to do this because anything with charge can break the game. They said that Stone Tusk Boar is the #1 card that they have to think about when designing.
I mean, Leroy's a legendary, so it's only one of it. Makes it special.
And it's got a big downside.
Leroy's in a deck, yeah, definitely.
Leroy's a fair
that makes
card.
Sense. Like Doom Guard, if you cheat out of Doom Guard, that feels bad. Because then just go face.
Yeah, I think the fact that Doom Guard can be cheated out makes it a little bit broken with charge now, because it didn't used to be that way,
So, I'm sure he'll get nerfed. Because, a lot of people were expecting him to go to Hall of Fame. He didn't. And this could be why,
Yeah, no, absolutely. I couldn't agree with you, Dubs. There's going to be a lot of... I don't think it's going to happen at the beginning of this expansion or with the set release. I don't think that they're going to be suddenly all these cards are nerfed, because I just don't think that's going to happen. I think it's going to come after. They're going to want to see how the set rotation affects standard. They're going to want to see the new cards. They're going to want to see everything. So I see this kind of trickling down as we move along, but I think Rush is going to be here to stay. As a mechanic, I don't think it's going to be something that is set exclusive.
Well, it's actually fun fact. It's actually I've actually played other digital trading card games. Sorry, and there are mechanics similar to Rush in there, and they do actually work out pretty well. They make the card a lot more balanced.
I love that now they can do stuff with gain +3 attack this turn with the battle card. That's cool. Keep it charge.
It's the cards they show in the first announcement are always just the really basic minions, which just have the thing. We saw it with that 4-mana 3/2 charge with Throws and Throne with lifesteal. Forgotten its name. Yep. That guy.
No. The Paladin card, right?
Yeah, Chillin' Champion.
Anyone who knows in chat, please tell us.
It's Chillin' Champion.
And apparently Blizzard have confirmed that Charged Devilsaur will be remaining the same, but I think that is the only card that they have confirmed that about. Because I think the Battle Cry makes Charged Devilsaur a fair card. If you build a deck which cheats it out, then fair enough, you've done something interesting deck building wise. It's not like Doomguard where you just play Skull of the Manari in your deck, which you do anyway.
Exactly. So that is Rush. We'd love to hear what you guys think about it, and we will be talking about it as we get to the card reveals that we can talk about. So let's move on to the next mechanic, which I think is going to be this set specific mechanic because it fits the set theme so well, and it's called Echo. And Echo, when played, adds a copy of that card to your hand, and it stays there until the end of the turn. So it looks, so it's very similar to how like Valera, the DK Valera works, where when you play the card, you kind of get another one that's kind of like glowy. So in that sense, that's how it works. But you can play as many copies of it as you have mana. So in this case, we have a 3 mana 2/4 neutral rare card that's Echo and Taunt. So if you have 6
with Portal.
Yeah. So you can play this, and then you can, we'd have a 0 mana. But I guess the question would, I guess you'd have to see.
Wisps
would it
with
echo
Echo.
as 0? Yeah.
Wisps with Echo.
Yeah. So it's going to be very interesting, but you can play multiple copies depending on how much mana you have. I really think this is cool to kind of give you that phantom-y, kind of spirity feeling to the deck. What do you guys think?
So
They have made a couple of clarifications about how Echo works. The minion that will go into after you play a minion for whatever cost, whatever stats it has, if it has been buffed, the one that you will be able to play with Echo will be the normal version. It won't be buffed. It won't be mana reduced unless you have something on the board which reduces mana costs for all minions. So you can't buff something with, say, Valanir, and then play 3 huge things for 3 mana.
Oh, buffed ones, yeah.
Yeah, you will just get the 3 mana 2/4s after you play the first big one.
Okay. That's interesting then. Well, there you go.
Because otherwise there would be some supremely broken stuff you could do with the mechanic.
Oh yeah.
Like, I think this is the mechanic which, like, I'm very excited for this mechanic. I think it lends itself to a huge amount of just possibilibilities. There is so much stuff you can do with this, like combo-wise.
It's definitely
Quest Rogue.
there was just the value you get from this is like getting multiple cards for 1 in your hand. It's like not expending less resources that you actually have.
Yeah, I mean, it won't feel bad drawing this turn 10.
Yeah.
Because now you can play 3 of them.
Yeah, that's very true.
I wouldn't even feel that bad, yeah.
So the 3 mana 4 health taunt power creep continues.
Yeah.
Poor Silverback
I'm very
Patriarch.
excited to see what Echo cards we get, because I just said a second ago, but with Quest Rogue, I mean, with all the bounce stuff, I mean, I know Ferryman's going to Wild, but, you know, people like me play Wild. You know, if you can just play it as many times as you can in a turn, bounce 1 back to your hand with Shadow Step. Next turn, you complete your quest that quickly, and then, like, I don't know, Echo seems really cool to fit in Quest Rogue.
I feel like there's not really going to be any 1 mana Echo cards, because that would be too much.
I feel like, you know, if there's 2, there's at least 1 card that costs 2. 2 is the magic number, I think.
Yeah, there will be some 2-cost ones, and
Well,
obviously they'll all be cheaper
already.
than 5.
Yeah, because I feel like 5 is going to be probably like a legendary Echo card. You know, you can play it twice in the turn. I think 2 and 3 are going to be like the main numbers. That way you can get as most out of it as you can.
Yep, I am very excited for Echo. I'm going to play with some ridiculous combos, and I'm going to have a great time.
I hope they make some cool battle cries with Echoes too. Like, you know, battle cry, deal X damage, Echo.
Oh my!
So you can, you know.
That sounds like something which would be a bit silly.
You know, or just deal 1 damage. Yeah, like a 2 mana 2/1, deal 1 damage. Echo.
Ironforge Rifleman with Echo.
Yeah, something like that. That'd be cool.
Yeah.
Yeah. I like it. So there's going to be a lot of cool deck building around this, and I really think it's very cool. But we also have one more thing to talk about here. They've actually added something that's already existed with kind of Prince Malchezaar. However, there's going to be a mechanic called Start of Game. And there are 2 cards that they talked about that go with Start of Game. And their conditions are very interesting. So what it does is it checks that to see if that condition is met. And so there are 2 cards. The first one is Greymane. Jen Greymane. I'm sorry, it's hard for me to see this over here.
Okay.
It's a 6 mana 6/5 legendary, and the start of game is if your deck has only even cost cards, your starting hero power only costs 1.
It's key to note starting, so this will not work with Anduin.
Right. So
Unless they say otherwise. But it specifically says starting, so you gotta be careful of that.
yes, it happens right at the beginning of the game. It's checked right then. So if you build your deck with only even cost creatures or spells, then you get this hero power advantage. So it's very interesting, and you get it right from the beginning of the game, which makes it like immediately useful, and it's very, very interesting. The other card is a 9 mana 7/8. It is
Baku the Moon Eater.
Baku the Moon Eater. Thank you. And at start of game, if your deck only has odd cost cards, upgrade your hero power. So upgrade your hero power is basically the same thing that you got from Just a True Heart, but you get it at the beginning of the game.
Oh man, I could just see Warrior tank it up. I don't know how good it would be. Or
Oh
Hunter.
god,
I think
no.
Warrior's the worst class for this card to be in.
Oh, I guess you
unfortunately.
miss out on some stuff. Yeah.
You miss out on a lot of stuff, but can you imagine
Execute.
just starting out tank up?
No execute.
Death Knight, Blood Razor, to name probably the 3 most important cards.
Slam.
Yeah.
Yeah, like Slam.
Slam. Dead Man's Hand.
Well,
Dead Man's
that's
Hand.
fine. I'm just gonna tank up. That's all I'm gonna do. I'm not gonna play any cards. Just tank up every single turn and see how long it takes them to kill me.
You could play
Probably
Quest.
10.
You could play Quest and just have this thing.
Oh my god, can you imagine? Baku Quest Warrior. Oh man.
Dude, I can see it. Like you get to have the quest, right?
I could see
You get
Hunter.
to have.
Quest Hunter.
Oh
Something like
yes,
that.
you're only playing like lots of ones anyway, I guess.
You have a bunch of 1-drops, and you can have your kill commands, and you have your Eaglehorn bows, and then you just deal 3 damage every turn. It's pretty crazy.
That
Yeah,
is legitimately something that could work.
Yeah,
I'm gonna try
and
that.
you know what? There's so much opportunity for awesome deck building to happen with these 2 cards that I'm very, very excited for.
Yeah, there is going to be a lot of cool stuff that we can do with this expansion from the looks of things. Like this is exactly what we needed. Like they've given us the kind of really wacky cards now for people to kind of start theory crafting, and take our minds off the absolute horrendousness that is standard format right now.
Makes you wonder though, are they going to have any more start of game effects, or do you think it's just going to be 2? Because it's a very interesting keyword.
They could do some other stuff, I'm sure.
I wouldn't be surprised. I wouldn't be surprised if there were a couple sprinkled around. Yeah, I wouldn't even surprised if last legendary or 2 of them might even have the same mechanic to it.
Very cool.
Time will tell on that one.
And then
So-
you guys, we can't forget about the other card that was half shown.
Yeah. So
We've still got a couple more cards to talk about.
Yeah, so there's a very, very, very cool new mechanic that is also being introduced into the game. So there's a lot coming in with this expansion, which is really exciting. And it's going to be for Worgens, I believe, exclusive to Worgens, and it's a card-changing mechanic. So that Worgens, basically, it's almost like a shapeshift, I would think. And what it does is, while it's in your hand, every turn, it flip-flops health and its attack.
That's pretty cool.
So that if you have a 2/4 Worgen, I believe that's what the one that was out there, right? It was a 2/4.
Yeah,
the
4 mana,
pumpkin
3 mana,
peasant.
2/4.
And
Life steal.
yes, I'm sorry, it just came up. And yeah, so it goes from a peasant to a Worgen and back. So it's like a kind of in your hand, and it's very cool because you get to choose when you want to play it, which could work to your advantage, or it could actually work to your disadvantage. That's really just not what you wanted at the time, and you don't have anything else to do. So it's pretty interesting here. What do you guys think about that?
So this says each turn this is in your hand. Does that mean your opponent's turn? Because that'd be really weird.
I think turn.
Then it would
your
never
turn,
change
yeah.
while it was on your
That's what I'm
turn.
saying. That's what I'm saying. That's weird. 'Cause
Yeah,
I saw in
think-
the video it changed on the opponent's turn, but I'm sure it stays on your next turn or something.
Yeah, it probably should be more read like at the beginning of, you know.
Because each turn would mean your opponent's turn starts, it changes. Your turn starts, it changes.
Yeah, no,
Who knows?
you're right. They might change the wording on that.
Yeah.
Who
File.
knows?
This is going to be like the least impactful little mechanic they have. I just think it's a cool way to kind of represent Worgens in game, because they've
Yes.
been, kind of lacking. Also,
Oh, for sure.
there was something that we didn't miss with Jen. Now every leader of a race from Warcraft is
Now represented.
Oh,
Hooray!
yeah, Jen's in-
Well,
Adam's
on.
Adam's gonna have to think of some new trivia questions for
actually,
next time.
that's not true. Actually,
Oh, really?
Lothar Theron is still not represented in the game.
Who?
I hope
The
you're
leader of the
listening,
Blood
listeners.
Elves. So he's like the leader of the Blood Elves. Like, it used to be the council, but they split, and now Lothar Theron is like the sole like leader of the Blood Elves. He's like this ranger dude. He's pretty cool. He is actually a pretty BA. He's not represented in the game, but maybe soon. Who knows? Maybe the set.
Stick around for Jepperino. Some more awesome trivia.
Yep. We may have a couple of weeks until the card reveals start in full, so that might happen.
I
Yeah.
read March 26th is when they start.
Yeah.
All right, so we've got a
2 weeks.
couple of weeks.
Yeah.
So I think it's an amazing way to represent, like you said. I love the shape shifting nature, and I'm really excited about this. So that is what we have been given as far as mechanics and things go for the new expansion. We're looking forward to seeing more cards come, but that's not it for what we learned today. As Blizzard promised, since they won't be doing the expansion and then the single player content add-on, like Karazhan, for example, and then another full expansion, they promised single player content built into the storyline for free for everyone to play, and they delivered again. The dungeon run was a huge success, and now we have Monster Hunt. Monster Hunt is going to be single player. It's going to be very similar to Dungeon Run, except the heroes that you get to play with are unique to that mode, and they gain you access to cards specific to that hero. So you're going to get to choose and play with some new heroes and have new hero powers, and that's fun.
Yeah,
So, yeah, I
looking
love
forward to that.
I loved the dungeon runs. So I'm really excited about that. What else did we learn, Repopson?
Well, one thing that we did learn about the Monster Hunt is I think it starts 2 weeks after expansion launch.
So it's not available right away, like the dungeons were.
Yeah, I'm still not fully certain on how the Monster Hunt thing is going to work. There's something, I'm sure I said something somewhere about accumulating loot for 2 weeks for Monster Hunt, so I really don't know how that is going to work. But
Well,
I-
definitely more to come on the Monster Hunt.
yeah, we will hear more from that. With regards to general sort of expansion news, there was one more card that we did see, which wasn't kind of mechanically inclined.
quote unquote, see.
Well,
That's
no,
all as much as we could.
this is the card that we did see. Just to my left, there it is, Azalina Soul Thief. That is the
Oh.
that is
How
the
did we
meme
how did we
card.
forget about that one? That was the first one they talked about.
Yep, it's
Oh yes.
It's a
Forgot about
7
that.
mana 3/3 battle cry. Replace your hand with a copy of your opponent's. Even if you have an empty hand, it will take your opponent's hand and put it in yours.
I think it's a cool card. It's a really cool card.
It is a cool card, but it is still a 7 mana 3/3.
Yeah.
So
Right, but do you know what this would be awesome? This would be awesome in one of those paladin decks where you just burn through your whole hand real quick.
Yeah.
And
Then
like
you just grab theirs, yeah.
That's
right,
what I was thinking. Yeah, aggro deck.
right, you just burn through their hand like turn 6, and then like they do something like they have a full hand, your hand is empty, and it's like, okay, if they have the AoE, I'm dead, and if not, I win. And then they do the AoE, and your whole board's dead. Normally, you just hit concede. You're just not coming back. But you could play this on 7, get a whole hand. I think that's a really interesting card for an aggro deck.
So a third divine favor.
Right,
Yeah,
but-
I mean,
but for their hand.
do you
I
really
don't
want to
see
fill
this
your
being very
hand
competitive.
with? Do you want to fill your hand with board clears as aggro deck?
That's true. Sometimes you might not get what you want, is the thing. Also, need I remind everybody, this is a 3/3.
This is a 7 mana 3/3. That's not an aggro deck card.
It's
Like,
still a really cool card, though.
This is
so.
I can maybe see it like
priest or something.
my no, just if you're playing against a lot of if combo decks are really popular, and like this could be a kind of
Stealer win con.
anti-combo. Yeah, so
I've-
say
I've
you're
got
playing
it.
against like the card I think of most is probably Aviana Malygos Druid, because they spend a long time assembling combo cards in their hand.
Oh.
So
This card's actually pretty good in mirrors now I think about it. Grabbing more stuff that your opponent has that you want.
Yeah,
you know
I
what
mean, it says replace, so you like get rid of your crappy cards. It's not going to do you any good, and then you
Yeah.
get there.
I mean,
and then you know exactly what they've got.
yeah, I mean it's an interesting card, but it's probably not a very good one. I think.
Yeah,
this
I mean, I
one.
don't.
I'm sure
Uh,
this thing is destined for
no-
card of the week status.
Milkshake
Oh,
Priest
yes.
has some cool cards though.
Yeah,
It's got another cool card.
however, there was one other thing that was shown right at the end of the trailer. Don't have a picture of this one, but there was a Ben Brode and co. did run away screaming from what has now been confirmed to be a Shaman hero card.
That was
We didn't
OP.
make this- We didn't
It was
make this-
screaming how OP this card was.
Yeah, they ran away screaming, "Too OP, please nerf." Whereas I believe what they were saying. And Ben Brode has since spoken a bit more on Twitter about this card, and he said that the Shaman hero, it is the only hero card this expansion, so no other classes are getting hero cards. And that's really interesting. Maybe this card is going to be super broken just to give Shaman a bit of help, as it's had essentially no expansions recently. It's
Maybe.
really just making up for free Shaman, but apparently this Shaman is very tied into the lore of the expansion. She is called Hagatha. She is a kind of dark shaman who is responsible for all the kind of messed up monsters that are occurring in the woods. So that's something cool. We did not. The video does not show the card's effect. All it showed is that it is an 8 mana hero card. So everything about that still remains to be seen.
It's interesting to see if they'll still get 5 armor or if it'll do something else.
Yeah, we didn't
Yeah,
see
we,
that.
we will see. I'm very excited. And very interesting that it's only one class. So we will have to
Shaman
just-
needs all the help it can get.
yeah. And I still don't have a golden shaman, so I'll take it.
It'd be cool to play Thrall and then play Hagatha later.
Yeah, I mean,
I mean, I don't know
Squirrel,
why
you,
you'd run
you
that.
need to be working on your golden rogue, man.
I am. I'm working on my golden robe. But okay, another amazing, awesome thing that was announced was that the pre-order that I love to do every expansion because you get the extra 10 packs. Well, now it gives you that extra 10 packs plus another 20 on top for a total of
Oh, yeah.
70 packs in the
So many.
pre-order. And
I'm
you
very
will,
okay with that.
yes, and you will also get a card back. For a little while, they weren't doing card backs with pre-orders. I'm glad they're back to doing it again. So go ahead and pre-order. It's going to be worth every penny. And they 135 new cards is just what it's been, and it's going to be again, because it's always 135 cards.
Yep, that is
So-
how the expansion works. And also, just pro tip for those of you, like we definitely recommend getting the pre-order in, and then if you want to save just a little bit more money, you should probably look into getting some Amazon coins, because they are currently, what is it, 20% off. They always add a discount about a month before an expansion launches, and then they go back to normal price around the time the expansion hits.
So actually, right now, it's $40 plus you get a $25 gift card to Gamer Sensei if you do this special promotion that's going on for a little bit. So actually, I'm gonna be getting that. Actually, I did. I think so
$40 for 70 packs and $25 coaching.
Yeah,
Yeah.
really good deal. Really good deal.
Go do it and treat yourself.
Yep, so that is a pretty good deal. Just remember, I did not put the card back up on the screen. So here we go. It's a pretty sweet looking card back. All gnarled and woody.
And speaking of awesome card backs, they did tease the card back that you do acquire by beating the monster hunt. And it looks amazing. Yes. So that's definitely something we're going to want to get. I wanted to beat the dungeon runs because I just wanted to do it. I didn't really think the candle card back was all that sweet, but this monster hunt one is awesome.
It is so, it's like all nice and blue and red.
So just like the one more other thing we did find out about this, because expansion news coming, is that when you log into, as soon as the expansion goes live, you'll get 3 packs of the new expansion for free, and you'll also get a random class legendary, similar to how you got a random class weapon, which was one of the legendaries in the Kobolds and Catacombs. So you get a free legendary and 3 packs, which is really nice that they're doing that. And the card effect rules are the new expansion rules will be in place, so you'll get a guaranteed legendary in your first 10, plus 1 in your first 40. So lots of legendaries to be coming.
Yep.
Oh, yeah.
And
Sorry,
go
ahead.
something that came up in the patch from the traditional data mining nerds. They discovered that there is going to be, I think it's a 3-week long event at some point. The data mine does not confirm when this event will start, but it will be giving rewards away daily at some point. And I think the daily reward is like for doing a quest every day. For doing quests, you get packs or something along those lines. So I imagine we'll hear something about that. And
Yeah, it's like 20 packs or something.
yeah, you can get like 20 packs for just doing your quests and playing some Hearthstone. So there's going to be a lot of free stuff coming up. Also, I just want to I want to shout out Noah G's comment in chat. Shaman hero at beginning of the game, you lose. Poor Thrall.
And back at the retirement home, you go for. So no release date has been established yet. The pre-order notes and the fine print says on or before 30th of April. So we know it will be coming next month. It's typically due to arrive if you follow their schedule toward the beginning to middle of April. And one little note here, a friend of the show, Reza, aka Edelweiss, made it to the top 8 in a very, very big tournament, which Bob soon will be talking about soon. So that tournament is actually, I believe, the 8th and 9th of April. So I would think that they would probably, and that is a Blizzard sanctioned tournament. So I believe that they would probably do it following that. So I'd say probably maybe like the 11th or 12th for my guess on release date.
Yeah, it is generally released around between the 10th and 15th of months. So
Yeah.
smart money's on around that time. The small print on the pre-order says on or before 30th of April, but it does say available mid-April elsewhere.
Yeah, I can't think that it's going to be the end of the month. They've never done
Yeah.
a set drop at the end of a season.
Yeah.
No,
No,
I
I
don't.
don't think so.
At least while standard was a thing, like maybe in like when it was just one format, it wasn't because it mattered and didn't matter at the same time when they dropped it. Because like you could play with everything anyway, nothing really rotated out. Your deck might not have changed. There would just be new decks that formed, or that you would have new additions to your deck. But here it's like you definitely I don't see them dropping this at the end of the month, so we're probably looking at like early to mid-April.
Yeah, I'm guessing the 14th. Actually,
Yeah,
it
solid.
is. Hold on, it is always on a Thursday.
Okay, and that is the
12th.
That's the second Thursday of that month, I think, right? No, the 14th is a Saturday in April, so that's not possible. So the 12th.
Yeah, so I'm
12th.
going to say the 12th. That is when I think it's going to launch.
I
think that's a solid guess.
That's
Yeah,
a
it's
good
also a good
guess.
guess.
The official guess of the Around the Hearth.
But don't quote us on that.
Yes, but don't quote us on that because we will not be redacting our.
We'll just deny it up and down.
So that's it.
Brad.
That's it for the expansion news. We are so excited. Please let us know what you think. Around the Hearth podcast at gmail.com. And tweet at us, Facebook us. We're going to put all the stuff in the show notes, but we want to watch the videos. There's another really cool video of all the new animations. So you can see what the new animations for all the cards that we talked about today are. So check that out as well. So that wraps up our segment on the expansion news. And now let's go back into tournament news. Esports.
Yeah, so first things first. Dubs, why don't you tell us a little bit more about Dubstone Classic?
All right, so the Dubstone Classic did take place on Saturday. We had 16 of the best WoW players in North America. Unfortunately, there's no EU. But Get Me Alf actually took home the prize, $125. Around the Hearth did sponsor the event financially, which is really cool. So he's getting $125. Tez Mizzet got second place. He's taking home $75. And then Shadow Ranger, which is kind of not as much of a notable player. Wow, this could be his big break. He got third place. He actually won the qualifying tournament. He qualified and then went ahead and won the whole thing back in I think it was December or January. So he got third place. He's going home with $50.
So he made that last chance work for him.
Yeah, and then so Wild HS, I worked closely with them. They did a lot of articles about the event leading up, and they actually did the best of the Dubstone Classic. So if you check them out, they're on Reddit, or if you go to wildhs.com, you check them out. They have a whole recap of the event. Who brought what, all the wonky decks, all the cool decks, they have stats, everything. It was really nice of them.
Yep,
You guys check it out.
Yeah, we'll be posting the link to that article. And like I said, there were a couple of personal highlights I had. Obviously, I was casting the event with our good friend of the show, Ike Designer. The absolute highlight was somebody had brought a Defile Warlock, Defile OTK, Knife Juggler, Necrotic Geist, Death Speaker, Tuskar Fisherman, Defile OTK
7 pieces.
Warlock.
It was awesome.
And
So it's like the most elaborate OTK ever.
Yep. He won on stream with it, but not by doing the OTK, just by grinding down a paladin with Void Lords and using the combo as just using juggler pings to just clear dudes of a dude paladin. It was incredible to watch.
It was awesome.
Like we said, the VOD is up on Twitch. It is a long VOD, like a really long VOD. But if you want to check out some premium wild action, I would highly recommend you go and check that out. But that was not the only tournament which went on the weekend. There was another tour stop which went on This time it was HCT Toronto, which took place at EGLX. And this was a super cool tournament. It was absolutely stacked to the rafters. Like, just a list of people who just completely missed out. So let's just go through some notable pros who were there. Muzzy, Chaki, Zalay, Fibonacci, Strife Crow, Orange, Purple, Mitsuhide. Those are all the pros who did not make top 30. No, sorry. Chaki, Muzzy, and Zalay did make top 32, as did Fibonacci. The rest of them completely missed out. I believe Strife Crow went like 1-5 and then quit. A lot of players just gave up. We've actually got someone in the chat right now, Hockey Boys 3, who was there, came like 60 something. So shout out to him, buddy from THL. He did very well. But as for the players who came up at the top, a French player, Odemia, took down Hunter Ace, a guy who I've spoken about on the show before and will continue to speak about as being absolutely insanely good.
That was a crazy game.
Hunter Ace is 17 as well. It is probably worth noting. And he is currently leading last call for the EU region. He's got like 50 points already.
Amnesiac.
Yeah, he's like the new Amnesiac, and old Amnesiac still is not very old.
Isn't he 16,
He's
17 too?
He's like the EU version of Amnesiac, is what you're saying.
Yeah. They need to play.
I look forward to that game actually taking place. Amnesiac was also at this event, I believe, but did not make it because the tournament was just so stacked. And the crazy thing about the final was it was 2 control lineups, essentially 2 players who didn't bring Paladin to a tournament. Yeah, because in this tournament, Paladin did really badly. Because everyone just kind of felt like, well, so if I'm banning Warlock, I just need to bring decks which all beat Paladin, and I'm probably going to be good. And that is what the 2 players who made it to the final did. So in Ademian's lineup, he had a Control Warrior, Spell Hunter, Control Priest, and Control Warlock.
I didn't know Spell Hunter beat Paladin.
Oh, Explosive Trap's really good against Paladin.
Oh yeah, I give him his dude Paladin then, yeah.
And Barnes Yashiraj is just good against any
Everything.
aggro.
Just everything.
Yeah, and then Hunter Ace had Jade Druid making a comeback. Combo Priest, Control Mage, and Control Warlock, and the final was so long, and there was one game in particular which was just an absolute highlight, which was against the Control Mage. Odemian managed to win with a Control Priest. Now that is a really unfavored lineup. And he managed to do it with about 3 different Elise packs, and just holding on to Shadow Reaper Anduin until like turn 25, when he forced Hunter Ace to play his Dragoncaller Alana because it was his last card. Anduin concede. That match took over 40 minutes. And then game 3 of the final took about 4 minutes because he.
I saw that game. I saw Hunter Ace like you could see the tilt on his face. He was just so upset.
Yeah. And I think the tilt did stem from the very first game. It was Control Warrior against Control Warlock. Now normally that is a hugely favored matchup for the Warlock because they have Rin, but Odemian managed to dirty rat.
He dirty rat out of his hand, yeah.
And at that point, as the warrior, you've basically
that's when you just like. It's when you like become a puddle in your chair. You're just like, oh.
You're just like that. That is the win condition. Once Azari's gone via dirty rat, Control Warlock has no win condition against Control Warrior because they have so much removal. So Control Warrior, Garrosh might not be that bad right now. Obviously, Thrall, still really bad, but Warrior it seems still does have a place, as does Jade
Well,
Druid.
well, in tournament.
Yeah. Probably still not on ladder.
Yeah, but it was a really action-packed tournament. So
Yep. Just a
Really
little
exciting to
note
watch.
as to who else was in the top 4 was another. It was Gallon, who was I think the only American representative in the top 4, and
Yeah.
Boate, who's
Never-
I think
I've
another
never-
Canadian player,
yeah,
French
I
Canadian.
never heard of either of them until then, though.
Yep, and then the top 8 was rounded out by Silent Storm, one of like the notable names, aka Wonder, player who's been doing some really good stuff recently as well. Seiko and Kalash. I'm not sure how you say it. It's got an X followed by a Z. Anyone knows how to say it? Hit me up.
Yeah, right the show.
Yep. So HC Toronto was a really cool tournament. It was a little unfortunate. The stream for it was pretty rubbish, especially at the start, because Swiss is not an easy format to broadcast, and there was just a lot of dead space. They hadn't kind of planned for anything to round out the space in between matches, so they were broadcasting double speed Hearthstone theme for a long time, and it got really annoying. Like, I turned the stream off after the first round because I just couldn't hack it, and I think a lot of people did the same. I think they really harmed their own viewing numbers just by that. It was a lot better on the second day though, so they quickly rectified their mistake.
Well, somebody probably got fired, and someone else took over.
I sure hope
Probably
somebody got fired for that blunder.
Yeah, it was probably Brad.
It's probably Brad, yeah.
Yeah, it was probably Brad. Goddamn Brad.
Anyway,
And-
on a
and then-
sidebar of... Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, so as we mentioned, friend of the show, Racer.
Edelweiss.
Edelweiss.
Yep.
She qualified for the Copa America finals. She is
Yep.
going to be flown to South America to compete. She made it through against like some incredibly prestigious competition. I know she definitely played against Muzzy a couple of times. So huge shout out to her.
Yeah, that's great. That's awesome.
Always
is
good
really
to see
cool, yeah.
a big friend of the show do some incredible stuff in competitive Hearthstone. So massive shout out there. And then finally, we can't talk about tournaments without talking about the Around the Hearth dungeon race. Of course, it's going to be on the 24th of March, a competitive dungeon run experience. Fun for all the family. Starting at 10 a.m. EST on that Saturday.
Yeah,
Your
we're
chance-
just talking 2 weeks away.
Yep. We will
Yeah,
be
sign
posting.
up.
We'll be posting the sign up link on all our social media. So make sure to get in there for your chance to win $125 worth of Toy Wiz vouchers as the first prize. And it's just for playing a few rounds for Dungeon Run. Honestly, no harm done.
No harm
It's
done
really
at all.
fun. It's really fun.
And like we said, we've been giving everyone in Discord and all of our listeners an opportunity to sign up because there are limited spots. So please sign up now. We are going live to the public with our link probably in the next day or so. So please sign up now because the tournament is going public and there's going to be a lot of people. We're going to be posting it all over the place, hoping to get lots of entrants. So we'd love to make sure you guys get first dibs.
Oh, for sure.
For sure. But I think that's all of the competitive Hearthstone covered. So let's talk a little bit of Tavern Brawl, Adam.
Oh, okay. So first time in a while we've had a classic one come back. Showdown at Black Rock Mountain. This was one of the first Tavern Brawls I think they ever rolled. Like
This was
one
the
of the
first
first few.
Tavern
Yeah, this is
Brawl.
the
It was
very,
the
very
first
first
one.
one. Yeah.
Yeah, so if you don't know or hadn't played this one before, basically it's Ragnaros versus Nefarian. Each player takes control of one of them, and they have a pre-built deck with cards exclusive to that character and Tavern Brawl, and it's just kill your opponent.
Basically, if you get Nefarian, you win.
I disagree.
They are. This is the most balanced this Tavern Brawl has ever been. It's a lot. Like, in the past, it has been hugely just Nefarian wins, but I think the quality of spells available to Nefarian has got so much lower on average that it's kinda even now. But
every time I played
still
5
has
times.
Nefarian still has slightly more broken cards, I think.
Well,
I played it 5 times. I was Nefarian 3 times. I won those 3 games. I was Rag the other 2 times. I decisively lost.
I
It
think
was
it's
not even close.
I think it just depends on what Nefarian gets. If he gets like some really good 0-cost spells, okay, fine, you got me. But like, if there are cards that he can get that just don't do anything.
Yep, I was very much winning with Rag, and then my opponent got a 0-mana light bomb, and then I lost.
Yeah,
that was my first run of the brawl. That felt good.
Nefarian essentially has to get lucky, and then you have to get, as Ragnaros, you have to get your Die Insight Hero Power online as quick as you can, pretty much.
Yep.
They should have just gave him like Blingtron or something. That would have made it more fun.
Yeah, just throw
very
Blingtron in your
thematic,
deck, just break your own weapon.
Yeah.
Yep.
I mean, you get it unlocked pretty quick. You're pretty much attacking every turn.
No, you should be attacking every turn.
Yeah.
I think Ragnaros is the harder one to play of the two.
Yeah,
For
but
sure.
it is more satisfying when you pull a win with Ragnaros, for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think once you get the
Alright.
hang of it, it's kind of not that bad.
So on the patent pending Adam Tavern Brawl fun scale, I gave this a 3 out of 5. It is a repeat brawl, so we played it a bunch of times. So if it's not as fun as if you're not new to it. So, how did you guys rate?
I agree 3. More of a nostalgia 3, you know. I don't. It was fun, but like it's like, oh yeah, I remember this. This is like, it's cool because they're like in the hundreds now for Tavern Brawls, so it's cool to see this one.
All right,
I think
Squirrel.
back when they first did it.
Oh, sorry, Squirrel. What did you think about this one?
I'll give it a 3 out of 5. 3 out of 5 on the Squirrel-o-meter patent means that I'll play it until I get my pack.
Fair enough. So it wasn't painful, but it wasn't the best thing you ever played.
Exactly.
Robobson?
2.
A 2?
Yeah, I mean, it was an enjoyable experience, but the problem I have with this rule is it has literally no replay value. There's no reason to play it more than exactly twice. You want to try it as once as Rag and then one as Nefarian, and then there is no reason you want to come back to it, I don't think. So that's my main issue with it. I want a Tavern Brawl which I can sink some time into doing some stupid stuff.
Well, the good news is that we have one more Tavern Brawl next week, and then we get the special StarCraft Tavern Brawl, which I'm super excited for.
Oh yeah, StarCraft.
All right.
I'm very excited about that one.
Segueing from Tavern Brawls.
You can't just segue by saying segue.
I'm doing it anyway.
If anyone's listening and is a professional would like to make bumpers, we have recently fired our intern and are looking for bumpers.
Yeah, we're talking
It's
about you,
all
Brad.
Brad's fault. Brad usually writes the segues. So moving on to card of the week. Screw it.
All right. So last week, in homage to our Mammoth Retrospective about Whispers of the Old Guys, last week's card of the week was Big Daddy himself, Cthulhu. I actually put together Cthulhu Rogue as I had promised because that is the only Cthulhu deck I have never played with. Pretty hit or miss.
Really?
Although it's because it's like I do have to cut a lot of good rogue cards to make this fun. Although Shadow Stepping Cthulhu is pretty hilarious.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Like if you didn't win by
Cthulhu's
then,
awesome too.
yeah, just playing Cthulhu is fun anyway. Robobson, what'd you build?
I also made a Cthulhu Rogue, but I've been playing it in Wild because Wild has
Okay.
Wild has a lot. Because Wild, you have Bran and you have Emperor.
Oh, Brand's so good.
Oh yeah.
And I also discovered it's only moderately unrelated to Cthulhu, but Bran Emperor Zola is the sickest combo.
Oh god.
man.
Oh
So
my
put
god.
an Emperor in your hand, which will then cost 5 mana, and then you have two guaranteed Emperor
Gorgonzola,
ticks,
yeah.
which means that you then will have because then you get 2 ticks. You can guarantee
man.
that Bran Cthulhu will be playable from your hand at any point. There's no
Nice.
setup required, and that is awesome.
Oh my god.
And then you've got Shadow Steps, you've got Blade of Cthulhu, which is my absolute favourite Cthulhu card. And Rogue in Wild has quite a lot of cool tools, which it doesn't have in Standard, which makes the deck more viable. I'm actually very proud of this deck. Like, it really beats up on Paladins, which are a lot of Wild, especially around the ranks I'm at. So I might even post, if anyone wants to check out the deck, it is available in our Discord somewhere. I would recommend checking it out. Dubs, how were your adventures with Cthulhu?
Okay, so I said I would play Cthulhu Druid. I lied and told the truth at the same time. I watched Cthulhu Druid in my tournament on Saturday. I was so busy prepping for it, I forgot to build the deck. But thank the Lord, we saw Aviana into Kuhn.
Aviana, Kuhn,
Bran, into Arakoa into Cthulhu. And I have it on VOD, so that's me. I count that as my homework.
I'm pretty sure what we actually saw was Aviana, Kuhn, Bran, Cold Light into Cthulhu.
Yeah, something like that. We never would have guessed that would happen. He pulled that out of his butt. And he got the kill, though.
It was
really
quite
cool.
something to behold. And Squirrel, I believe, has not done his homework for this week because he was off being tormented by Mickey Mouse.
That is correct. But I will say, but for the record, I'll go Cthulhu, Cthulhu, Cthulhu.
Yep, that's why we keep him here. Impressions.
So now a pseudo bumper into going toward our next segment. Our card of the week this week is Medivh the Guardian, 8 mana, 7/7. Gives you a weapon that basically is a summoning stone with 3 charges on it. A Tish. Very popular card, especially in greedy control decks. Has seen play in the likes of Gunther. Gunther Mage is probably the deck that made this guy, look super relevant. Pretty much, Mage makes this guy look really good.
It was all about Ungoro Control Priest with this guy.
Oh yeah.
If you can remember back, that stuff was my jam.
Oh yeah, I do remember. Like you just resolve a giant spell with Medivh out. Like take their guy, you get a 10 mana guy, that kind of thing.
Yeah, I feel like Mind Control, or you play Free from Ember. Oh.
Yeah, Free from Ember was the one. Oh, I missed that deck. It's really bad now, unfortunately. But yeah, so
just play it casual. We're good.
Yeah, so this guy was the poster boy for One Night in Karazhan, and he definitely can find his way into most decks that at least go to the late game. More so, greedier decks seem to like this guy a lot more. But he is usable.
If you got big spells,
if you got big spells, this is your guy. Yep. So I'd say anything in 5 or above you're pretty safe to play Medivh.
Yeah.
Yep. So if you have anything cool that you managed to do with Medivh, make sure to let us know. Tweet us some funny screenshots at Around the Hearth, or just put them in our Discord, the link of which will be in the show notes. But speaking
if anybody streams, you should send us some VODs too. That'd be cool.
Oh yeah, absolutely. But speaking of One Night in Karazhan, of which Medivh is the poster boy for, it's time for our Year of the Mammoth retrospective. Now, Medivh looks a little bit different in this banner, it must be said. So, One Night in Karazhan. Let's talk a little bit about it. So Karazhan was
Morgan, half Medivh.
Karazhan was the last adventure ever released, probably ever.
Yeah.
Because adventures just kind of.
Well, there was still Ice Crown after that.
Yeah, that wasn't an adventure. That was a single player aspect to an expansion. It wasn't an adventure per se.
Oh, when you
like the purchasable.
A purchasable.
Yeah.
I
mean standalone adventures.
Oh, okay. So in replacement of a set, this is an adventure that is basically it's a little set. Okay, I see what you mean.
Karazhan marked the point where Blizzard decided that standalone adventures were not worth the time that it took for what they were able to produce, because the amount of effort they had to put into producing the adventures with only 40-ish cards. One Night in Karazhan had 45 cards, because One Night in Karazhan didn't really impact things in the way that, say, League of Explorers, the adventure before it, had done. So it was considered quite a big flop, I think, internally at Blizzard. And so for that reason, it is now 3 expansions a year rather than 2 expansions and 1 adventure. And I think we're all pretty happy for that. Are you guys happy with that?
I always saw a lot of players who were like, they were so adamant about not spending $1 on Hearthstone that like they refused to purchase the adventures, and then they couldn't play meta decks because like Tempo Mage today runs 2 Medivh's Valet. Well, if they haven't bought like my little brother, he plays, but he didn't buy the adventures. So now he can't play Tempo Mage to its full power because he can't play the Valays. And now you're like, you're not going to buy the adventure now.
Oh God, no.
Yeah,
it's
like,
too late now. Yeah,
it
it's just kind of
is
like,
coming towards the end of its lifespan, unless your
I
brother
like,
wants to get
I
into
really
WoW.
want to do it now.
Well, here's the thing: the impact that the standalone adventures had on the meta could either be huge or small, depending on like what was released in it. But generally, they were pretty packed full of powerful cards that had a big impact on the meta.
Oh yeah.
That being said, I think that this was not a decision that the designers made. I think this was something that Blizzard's back and money people decided, because you make a lot more money off of
that is a fair
expansions than just one single $25 purchase. Those
Very
same
true.
people that are making those purchases are making a $50 pre-order, plus they're buying more.
Yeah.
So I really think that it's nice that they're giving that free content with the expansion, so you can think of it that way, like where you get your pre-order, you also get the Monster Hunt as part of it. So you
Monster
can look
Hunt,
at it from that.
Dungeon Run, Ice Crown
Right.
Citadel, all the extra stuff, as well as the expansion, which impacts the actual game itself.
Right.
But
So I think it was more of a financial decision.
I think that may be fair, but we'll get on to Karazhan's impact on the game as a whole in just a bit. But so, talk a bit more about Karazhan. So it featured 13 bosses spread across 4-bit wings, as well as 9 class challenges, as was customary for adventures. We're getting 45 cards, 5 of which were legendaries, for making your way through. And Karazhan was kind of notable in that it didn't really it didn't introduce a new mechanic or a new keyword. It just had like a couple of themes, and I think that was one area where the expansion was just really lacking. There's not much notable about Karazhan. Like it had some interesting. The closest it got to like a new mechanic were the portals, which were spells which, when they were cast, they summoned a minion of a related mana cost, as well as some kind of effect which was unique to the class, whether it be mages dealing damage, Firelands Portal being probably the most notable, as well as the only played portal in the game. Like what other ones were there? There were Moonglade for Druid.
Well, there's the
Iron Forge.
the Shaman Portal.
Yeah,
Maelstrom
Portal.
I forget that is a portal. My bad. Maelstrom Portal, probably the best example of that.
We forgot Granddad
had
again.
one.
The Paladin's the Silver Moon Portal, and that's not
That
bad.
one is so bad.
Yeah. We forgot Maelstrom Portal, aka we forgot about Granddad again.
Yep.
And then the Warrior Portal was used for a little while too. It was
Iron Forge Portal, yeah.
Yep, that was used
Warrior
for a while.
really liked using it though.
The Druid Portal was used quite a bit. The heal yourself and gain.
Moonglade's actually pretty good.
Yeah, not
one, 6 and summon to 6.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it should be noted that not all the classes got portals. That Hunter, Priest, and Warlock didn't get one. So
yeah,
no Priest Portal feels bad, Priest did, however, get Purify this expansion, so
Thank
Oh,
goodness.
that's
something to be
such
said
a
about
good card.
that.
Oh my god.
And side note, you can always open a portal with Warlocks if you play the quest.
That's true.
That's right.
Oh yeah, they got their portal later.
Yeah.
Very true. Very true indeed. But so, Karazhan, let's just talk about the cards which we think most impacted the meta. So these are what we think are the top 5 cards. The card we put at number 1. Some of you, if you've started within the past 9 months of playing the game, you might, or maybe even like the past year, you may not recognize this card as something which is ever played. We're talking, of course, about Spirit Claws. Spirit Claws, the now 2 mana 1/3 weapon, has +2 attack while you have a spell damage. Used to be a 1 mana weapon with exactly the same stat line.
Disgusting.
At that
Disgusting.
cost, it was bananas. The card was so powerful.
Yeah, it's like Lights Justice Plus.
Yeah, I mean, this into Thanos, or this into if you high roll power. Or people are even playing the Kobold, the one that gives you +1 spell damage.
Yeah, I think that was just
Okay.
people who didn't own Thalmos for the most part.
Yeah. I'm saying,
Yeah.
like, it's just crazy to see all these cards.
Yeah, like we spoke about the impact that Wrath of the Whispers of the Old Gods had with regards to Shaman Stone. This card, just as much as
It kept the
Thing
ball
from
rolling,
Below
really.
and Flame Wreath Faceless, just kind of compounded things. One Night in Karazhan was all Shaman. They were
This
just
put the nail in the coffin for Shaman being the best.
yeah, Shaman was just absolutely everywhere. So that's why we've put a card in its pre-nerf form at number 1. It was just unstoppable, and
Yeah,
that is why it got nerfed.
Pretty much, if you were playing Shaman, you were playing that card. It doesn't matter.
Yep.
Yeah, mid-range, aggro, control, it didn't matter.
Mid-range Shaman was just, without a doubt, the best deck in the game by so much. I remember the first heroic Tavern Brawl
Yep.
was pure Shaman.
If you didn't play Shaman, you lost. That's how it was. It's crazy.
Like that was the one that I got to 12 wins in by playing mid-range Shaman, and I believe in like the 14 games I played that run, 11 were Shaman mirrors. I was just very good at Shaman mirrors.
Yeah, it was ridiculous.
That was my claim to fame.
Those are dark times.
Yep. If you didn't like playing Shaman, you had, I think, Malygos Druid was the only deck which kind of beat it, and that was only sort of, and that was essentially it for Hearthstone.
Or Freeze Mage. But Freeze Mage didn't beat a whole lot of other things.
Yep, and that was really the big failing point in terms of One Night in Karazhan, because prior to it, Shaman had emerged as the most dominant class, and instead of shaking things up, One Night in Karazhan compounded it further.
Yeah.
People were already sick of Shaman. Then Blizzard released an adventure with not many cards, a lot of which were actually very bad. Like you're allowed room for some bad cards, some pack filler in 135 card expansions, but when you have a 45 card adventure and you have things like Arcanosmith, Purify, the Fork thing, Deadly Fork.
Deadly Fork.
Deadly Fork.
When you have that quantity of bad cards in such a small pool, it feels incredibly bad, and it just doesn't impact the game in any meaningful way for another few months. And that was just like a pretty much disaster for Blizzard.
And let's not forget the whole Purify controversy.
Yes.
Yeah.
Now,
Oh,
Purify
people are nuts.
was, I think, the first time that a PR, like a backlash, has actually resulted in the developers coming out and actually defending a card. So, it may so this was at a point where Priest was in a very different place to what it is now. So you think
So bad.
you basically think of Shaman right now and Priest was in a worse position than that at this point in time.
It just no one played it.
And
it was like everyone got just one class card.
Yep. There were Was it one class card? I think there were.
Yeah, I think it was
several.
one or two.
No, it was like 3 or 4, I think.
No, everyone got a few class cards. Yeah, because Shaman had Spirit Claws, Maelstrom Portal, and Wicked Witch Doctor.
Yep.
Okay, maybe it was 3 then.
So, what people were so annoyed with was Shaman, the most dominant class prior to the adventure,
got more tools.
Got 2 of the best cards in the expansion, while Priest, without a shadow of a doubt, the worst class at the time, got Purify, the single worst card in the game.
And it was also the first card that they teased for Priest when everyone was like, "All right, Priest's finally gonna get something." They didn't.
Yeah, they did not get anything. Purify, of course, 2 mana, silence your own minion, draw a card. Thrilling stuff.
Yeah, I remember people were going nuts. Like, they were mad. It was crazy.
It was a bad time to be a Priest player. That I will tell you. That's why I was playing Shaman. Priest was bad.
Yeah.
But anyway, let's move on to our second card atop this terrible list. It is Barnes.
Oh, man.
My least favourite card in the game. I'm not sure about how you guys feel about this card.
I there's some words I want to say, but I can't. We are a family friendly.
We are a family friendly podcast, so we are. I am refraining from voicing.
I want you to think in your head what I want to say, and then my message has been sent.
Yep.
I don't like this card.
Just think of 4-letter words and.
Yeah. I want to say me and Barnes have like a love-hate relationship. I love when I get him and he like hits real hard, and I hate when someone else gets him and I have to feel the wrath. Yep. It's just like good.
I like PTSD from seeing Barnes and Yasharaj into statue over and over and over and over and over.
Yep,
I
think Barnes. I think Barnes is the single unhealthiest card that they have ever printed. I think it's worse than Nagasi Witch.
Yeah. Well, to be fair, also, Barnes was also in mid-range shaman builds because he could pull totems from your deck that were really good, like a Flame Tongue totem or like a Mana Tide totem or something.
Yep. Barnes has been like Barnes's real kind of horror period has only kind of really been relatively recently. At first, the card was quite a gimmicky one. You know, he made like appearances in Evolve Shaman because you could Barnes Evolve. That was like his big moment in the sun before Big Priest really became a thing. But then
fair. I think that's fair. That's fair.
You know, that at that point in time, I thought Barnes was a really cool card. However, it was specifically the printing of Eternal Servitude that really changed what Barnes was in Hearthstone. That and Yasharaj. Barnes Yasharaj was like, it was quite a fun combo which people played in Renounced Warlock for quite some time. The idea being that you ran Barnes and Yasharaj with only Warlock spells in your deck. You played Renounced Darkness, you got a bunch of random minions in your deck, and you played that after you played Barnes Yasharaj on turn 4, and then the Yasharaj would just pull some random stuff from your deck. It was an incredibly memey deck. However, of course, with all the Spell Hunter synergy that Blizzard have printed in Kobolds and Catacombs, they accidentally made Spell Hunter with Barnes Yasharaj a viable thing, and it's just another ridiculous high roll deck that Barnes is a part of. Barnes just lends itself to winning a game on the spot. That's the nature of the card, unfortunately. I think the card is just horribly designed. There is no, like, as it stands, there is no fair way to play a deck with Barnes in, and I really hate this card.
Well, I mean, I feel like when they made it originally, it was a cute little card, you know, wasn't crazy. You do some cute little card synergies with it, but I think that it very heavily limited design space, and they didn't take that into account. They're just like, oh, it won't be that bad. It is,
and it is that bad. Like, this card is horrible. Like, I am, and it's not even something that, like, Naga Sea Witch, I can think of quite an easy change that I would have made to the card without changing it too much, which would just be reverted to its original state. Barnes, however, I think the intrinsic design of the card is just incredibly unhealthy.
I'd have to agree with that.
There is no way of making this card fair without completely changing it.
Yeah. No, it's definitely, when printed and when first discussed, it was concerning. And the concern lives on because its power is very strong. Just like how Spiteful Priest right now relies on just, only having like 2 or 3 really high cost spells in your deck. You can do the same thing with Barnes and Yashraj, for example. But there's so many ways to kind of have Barnes just cheat out something that is just game changing. And if you're on coin and doing that on turn 3, for example, is just really,
sad.
really sad. So
Just really incredibly sad. And then if you can just resurrect your big stuff.
Yeah, 2 mana to get back, the 1/1 that just died. It's a little out of hand.
Pretty backbreaking. I think Blizzard have been honestly a lot more careful about the implications the cards they print have on future design space since they printed Barnes.
Very well could be.
Because this card just screws with so many possibilities, and obviously with Wild, this card going there, he's going to live on forever unless something is done about this card, and I really hope something does happen.
I would be surprised if within the next year, hopefully sooner, there's some sort of Wild balance change where they at least tweak Sea Witch, tweak Barnes. So those are the 2 big issues. Besides that, Wild's really fun. There's always going to be some deck that's super oppressive that does unfair things really fast. Like any card game that has years and years worth of cards, you're going to find disgusting combinations. So I don't know. We will see.
I think the issue is just the fact that so many of those ridiculous early game high rolls feature Barnes. He's in a lot of them.
Yeah.
He definitely rewards RNG pretty hard. It also can be played around in such a way where there is no RNG. Next up.
Yeah, a lot about Barnes there, but the next one on our list is a card where when they said, you know what, Shaman, they're doing pretty good right now, and we're going to give them Spirit Claws. But you know what they don't have right now is really cheap, no overloading AoE. And what do they get?
Maelstrom Portal.
Maelstrom Portal.
I'm not saying this is one of the more annoying cards in Shaman's arsenal, but it does hurt kind of bad.
It's extremely powerful. It's
powerful but fair at the same time.
Yeah, because it's an arcane explosion, but you're also getting a 1-cost mana. So it's really an arcane explosion for 1. And the impact that has, especially when it's so cheap, and you can combine it with spell power, and when Shaman was just rolling spell power all over the place, and you were getting 2 mana to everything, it's just really, really strong.
Yeah.
As far as being fair, tell that when you slash your opponent rolls the Flame Imp, which is the best thing you can get on this thing.
Yeah, if you get a 3/2 or a 2/3, that's really cool. But most of the time, you get a 1/1 or a 2/1 or a 1/2.
Yeah.
Which,
Whoops.
I don't know. I feel like over time the card's gotten worse, just because you can get some cards you don't want or that aren't as powerful. But
it's still even in aggressive Shaman though. This all play because there's no overload.
Mm-hmm.
Oh
No,
yeah,
Shaman
DK
did.
just said you can get Trog off this. Oh,
Yeah,
Oh
it's-
God.
yeah, Shaman's problem was early fast stuff against it because it was playing a mid-rangey kind of deck and aggro could beat it. But when they gave them this, it was like, sure, don't worry about aggro. Here you go.
yeah. Spirit Claws into Thalnos if it lives into Maelstrom Portal. That's it. GG.
Yep. Plus just the incredible synergy of spell damage totem into Maelstrom
Yeah.
Portal. And the main thing was just the fact that this was just on top of everything else Shaman had at the time. Like at this point we were talking Tunnel Trog, Totem Golem, Spirit Claws, Flame Reed Faceless, Thing from Below, Mana Tide Totem, Flame Tongue Totem, Maelstrom Portal, Feral Spirit.
They had it all.
What was that
that
totem
totem guy.
buff? Thunderbluff
Yeah.
Valiant. Thunderbluff Valiant was
Yeah.
like the real kicker.
Ugh, that card's awesome.
Yeah, Shaman at the
And of
time.
course, Tuskar Totemic, the unbuffed, pre-nerfed Tuskar
Yeah.
That
Totemic.
card's awesome.
Oh my god,
So-
I've forgotten about that particular card.
Talk about early game high rolls.
Yep.
Yeah, it's like oops, flame
Yeah,
tongue.
that's where a totem golem. Ooh.
Yep.
I would like to
Golem,
say that.
Mana Tide Totem for
Yeah,
Three.
I would like to say that though that Tuskar Totemic helped me learn about positioning my own minions on the board and stuff like that. So thanks for burning that. You know.
yeah.
So
sad
yeah,
memories.
so as Shaman got more tools, they gave more tools to another class, which really needed a new mechanic to push it over the edge, a card to push a mechanic over the edge. And what do you guys think about Malkazar's Imp, the discard king?
Well, I'm
That
sure.
card
I
is
know
very
you
good.
like it. I know you like it. I know you like it, Squirrel.
I think few years down the road, this card's going to be amazing. I'm sure they're going to keep printing discard synergies. And eventually, this card's going to be like the best card of the deck.
Yeah,
Wow.
even in a deck with like Zoo, like this. So this card
You
finds
only need
its-
Soulfire and Doomguard. That's it.
Yeah, so it finds its home mostly in Zoo. So it basically can net you. What is it like? If there one Malkazar's Imp can net you 6 additional cards during the game. In theory,
It feels
if
so
you
bad
play.
when they drop that into Doomguard. It's just,
It's like
Yeah.
Yeah.
What, they have
and
two
it's-
out,
and
and draw
it's-
4 cards.
and it's pretty sturdy at a 1/3, so it's not going anywhere too quickly.
It made an archetype fun. I immediately started playing with it. I loved discarding stuff, and especially because Silverware Golem came in the same set.
Oh, I miss Silverware Golem.
Yeah, so Silverware Golem came in the same set, so it made you want to go to that next level to try. Also, Fist of Jiraxis was still available.
That card.
So,
Oh my god.
so it was just fun. It was fun to play,
of course
and
there
for
was
us who
the Darkshire Librarian from Whispers of the Old Gods.
Yeah.
Like,
Darkshire
the
Librarian.
discard thing was something that they had been trying to push for a long time. Malkazar's Imp was the card which made it like come together.
Yeah, it's
Because-
just a little hard. Yeah, it's a little hard in this game because there's no targeted discard. Like the player can't choose what they discard, but at least if you get something back anyway, it's not that bad.
Yeah.
Yep. Malkazar's Imp. It's just a really hard card to deal with. 1-mana 1/3s are pretty problematic.
I mean,
when-
I would
when-
say it's
if you have Malkazar's Imp, Coin, Soulfire in an aggressive mirror, that is like your dunzo.
Yeah, gross.
Especially if you got the Silverware Golem. Silverware Golem, a card which really kind of fell off in Zoo.
Well, you'll always have the Silverware Golem. Thing is, you'll never.
yeah, no, you
no.
will discard
I mean-
every other card.
No, it's
mean,
always
like-
gonna miss. Yeah.
I remember playing, turn 1, you have the 3, play that coin, Soulfire, you get the totem or the Silver Golem because it's only the card. You're
You're
like,
okay, I think I win.
you
from
kill
this
their
point.
minion, I win. All I
Yeah.
gotta say though is it still couldn't make Quest Warlock good.
Sorry, Swirl.
Yeah, just didn't happen for you there.
Still dreaming.
I still have those cards golden. I'm just waiting.
You're going to be waiting for a long
One
time.
of these days. One of these days.
Yep.
Yeah.
Who knows? In
so-
2020, we'll see that
Yeah.
Discard Warlock is running the meta.
Yep, so that was a card which really made an aggressive archetype properly viable. Onto another card which made an aggressive archetype incredibly viable. It is Enchanted Raven, the 1 mana 2/2 beast, which
That's it.
it's just so strong for what you.
Yeah.
When you have 1 mana Enchanted Raven into 2 mana Mark of Yasharaj, that is just so hard to deal with.
Yeah.
And
it was nice to open up another Druid archetype with this card getting printed for sure, because beforehand it was pretty much just mid-range or some kind of combo Druid, or that's it, you know?
Yep, and
Yeah.
aggressive
Druid's really
Druids really took off after Karazhan, and we've kind of just been seeing aggro Druid almost non-stop since Karazhan. They've kind of fallen off with the nerf to patches. It's not quite so good anymore, and the nerf to Corridor Creeper. But Enchanted Raven still pops up in Spiteful Druid, another deck which is doing really well right now. Basically, if you have a Druid deck which needs a 1-drop, you will play this card. It is the best 1-drop to play in Druid. You would play this card in almost any deck which was kind of a mid-range or aggressive deck which needed 1-drops if you could. This card is just really strong.
Yeah, it's very rare that a vanilla card is this powerful, but when it's an overstated 1-drop,
Yep.
that's kind of a big deal.
And the beast tag is a huge part of it.
And the beast tag is just a bonus, yeah.
If the beast tag wasn't on it, it would be 10 times worse.
Yeah.
And probably not see a lot of play.
It would still be in Spiteful Druid. 1 mana 2/2 is still just good.
Yeah.
Like, you're happy with a 1 mana 2/2. It contests like even a Flame Imp.
Yeah.
It contests a Cleric with a hero power. It contests a Mana Worm. It's just a really strong card. I quite like Enchanted Raven from a design perspective, which is actually apparently quite rare in this set. But you know what we're really seeing was the theme of this set is it just kind of it made aggro decks better, like almost universally, and that's not really something which ever goes down very well from a community perspective, quite unfortunately.
Well, it's like everyone wants when there's too many control decks around, everyone's like, well, there's no aggro. When there's all aggro decks around, there's no control. So it's like
Play mid range.
you can just I'm saying like there's you guys like finding that balance is difficult, I suppose.
Yep, and that of course because we saw all these aggressive decks, it was just mid-range Shaman. But now let's move on to cards 6 to 10 in our top 10 most impactful cards from Karazhan. And we've got the one control card on the top 10, and that is the daddy of the expansion, Medivh the Guardian. So
Also our card of the week.
Yep, also our card of the week. Now, I love this card. It is, I think it's a very well designed, balanced card. Like, it's a very slow card, which then pays off hugely if you get the value from it. And that's what you want from, like, a greedy control card.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I
I
remember
agree.
him into Flame Portal, or Islands Portal.
Yuck.
I loved
Yeah.
it.
Play Flame Strike, play Free from Amber, play Dragonfire Potion.
Play unstable. Later online, play Ultimate Infestation.
Play Doom.
Yeah, this card was actually one of the cards that got me the set. I was really excited to experiment and see how we could really play with Medivh and see the ways that he could be put into different decks. And I love that not just one type, like while he's really super strong in Mage, lots of classes were able to take advantage of him. Even Druid, many classes. So
Druid free Ultimate Infestation as well.
Yeah, so it was a very good card, and I agree, well balanced, and we definitely will talk a lot more about it next week after we all get a chance to play with him a little more.
Yep. It's just
Now, for those dragon lovers like myself, there is a card that came with a plot twist. Why don't you tell us a little bit about that one, Adam?
Yeah, Nether Spite Historian. So this little doozy, it was a 2-mana 1/3 that gave you basically added a dragon to your hand, and there's a fair amount to choose from.
I think you're reading the card wrong. I'm fairly sure it says Battle Cry, add a Duskbreaker to your hand.
Yeah,
yeah.
But Duskbreaker, that's new. It was before then. The dragon pool was actually pretty, and it was Battle Cry add a Draconoid operative to your hand.
Well, at this point, there was no Draconoid operative either.
Yeah, well, at the point where this card came out,
or Nixia,
Sarah
like,
was
generally. You could grab a big dragon. There was also Bookworm in this set where she could grab. That was always a good one. Yep. Twilight Drake, that's another good one. Azure Drake was still available, just so you know.
Oh, getting Azure Drake on this was awesome.
Yeah.
So this card, I want to say this card single-handedly enabled the dragon archetype, at least later down the line, because it allowed you to keep momentum with and not expend too many resources to draw cards or miss out on minions at least. So Priest probably benefited the most out of it, but it was also experimented in other classes like Paladin.
It's really cool. It's a neutral card. That's what I thought was really cool.
And it was a neutral card too. So that was
and what the biggest impact when you look at the real deep part of it though was that if you only had one dragon in your hand that needed more dragons to activate, this gave you that second dragon. This gave you an activate.
Even now, I love that. Like with Duskbreaker, operative, you're like, just have one.
It's turn 6. You have a Duskbreaker in hand, but you have no other dragon. You draw the Historian. You play it. You pick any dragon, and then Duskbreaker is active. I think this card rotating more than any other card is gonna just destroy Priest. And
it hurts the dragon archetype pretty hard.
Even
dragons.
Priest,
Dragons are what all Priest has. Every archetype Priest has. There are a lot of them, but they all rely on dragons.
Yeah.
And they all rely really heavily on this card as a 7th and 8th dragon, essentially. Because once they lose this card, they lose Draconid Operative. They have essentially got Twilight Drake and Duskbreaker and Primordial Drake. And Priest is just
thank God, no more Duskbreaker.
no more than 2 Duskbreakers.
Yeah, only two Duskbreakers in the deck, and they're often just not going to be active. Priest is in for
the four Duskbreakers is the most frustrating.
Yeah, so Dragon lovers will miss this card a lot, but I want to talk about the card I'm actually going to miss the most from this from when I had Karazhan, and that's Swashbuckler. This dude is really.
A few moments later.
Yeah. Yeah, says he's gonna dance. He'd like to dance. Is not dancing. Also looks like the Hamburglar, which is typical of pretty much every Burgle card in the entire expansion, or every rogue Burgle card ever has the Hamburglar on it. They just can't get away from it. Anyway, a 1-mana 1/1 pirate that battle cries to add a random class card to your hand from your opponent's classes. I can't count the number of times this dude has won me the game. One, because he pulled patches. But also, too, because he gave me a card that my opponent couldn't play around, or that I really needed. And especially in Rogue Mirrors, this guy's super gross.
The Swashbuckler from them, infinite value.
The moment this card really makes me think of is when we were playing, when Team ATH were playing in that tournament, and our opponent, while we were playing Mage, got Frostlich Jaina.
I do remember that. Yeah, we couldn't play on that.
That was pure sadness, and I remember it happened to me 3 more times that week, and I was just like, okay, the game is just.
How are you doing? How are you doing this? Yeah.
Yeah, I think Swashbuckler is one of my least favorite cards in the game. I hate this card.
It's very, 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 very strong. And it is, but if Raynad was going off about this, he would say it's everything wrong with the game because of the whole adding one random spell from your opponent's entire class. But
it's just the concept of variance in a competitive level card is just kind of rubbish, I think, from a design perspective. Like, Swashbuckler is a really strong card.
Yeah, it's borderline unfair.
The borderline is only kind of decided by what random card you get. It's kind of like Primordial Glyph. It's like, well, you can either get something which will just outright win you the game and your opponent has no idea what it is, or you get complete garbage.
Yes.
And
there's been many purifies coming off of Swashbucklers.
Yeah,
very many.
Or like or Doom or something, you know. Something I was never going to play. But onto a more fair card.
Yeah.
You have Medivh's Valet.
Medivh's Valet, when it first came out, I got really excited for the Secret Mage archetype.
And it did not exist.
It did not really have the steam that it needed at the time, and Medivh's Valet kind of just parked the car.
Well, he was in Dex.
He was, but
the issue was Secret Mage in between Karazhan and Gadgetzan didn't really have the support it needed for Medivh's Valet to see play, and then from Gadgetzan onwards, it was Secret Mage just couldn't exist because patches. In aggro, only seeing a little bit of play. It's just since the patches nerf, or at least since Kobolds and Catacombs, with Explosive Runes notably, was the card which made Medivh's Valet and Secret Mage as a whole work. Like, Medivh's Valet was kind of just in like an extra minion in slower mage decks for quite a while, because if you have an ice block up, you would guaranteed Medivh's Valet would just be an extra Frostbolt to help you clear the board. Yeah. And that was kind of his thing for a while. Now it's more kind of play secret, Valet goes face, everything goes face.
Yeah. No, it's amazing. And when you look at the stats and think about the battle cry, you know, you're basically getting a Frostbolt that doesn't freeze and a 2/3 body. And I think that's really, really incredible. As you can tell in the meta right now, Medivh's Valet owns it. So
Medivh's Valet is a big part of the meta right now.
It's a good card, and the standard will be very different when that card rotates out.
Yep, Secret Mage is really going to struggle without Medivh's Valet, I think.
So the last card that we're going to be talking about today, impacted the meta, is actually number one that impacted the arena meta. And that was our favorite common, Firelands Portal. There was a big discussion when this card was released on rarities. I remember Firebat and a lot of other people talking about rarities and
I think Crip was the biggest purveyor of this particular.
Yes.
Yeah, like why is this a common card?
He had that giant rant about that, and this card single-handedly turned the arena meta upside down. It was just made. It was the if you had mage, you picked it because it was just so.
Arena
dominant.
at the time was just step one, you pick mage. Step 2, you pick every Firelands portal you possibly can. Step 3, if you have more Firelands portals than your opponent, you win. Because they summon a 5-drop, then you use Firelands portal on their 5-drop, and they do it back, and then whoever runs out of Firelands portals first won the game.
Can we also point out that this thing can also summon a Doomguard or Leroy Jenkins?
Yep. And obviously,
I've died from that before, quite a few times. Getting shot in the
We've
face
all
before.
done. I think we all have.
Yep. And they have, of course, released a lot of weak 5-drops after this card to kind of balance it out a little bit more, like the Furbolg Mossbinder. We've got the Bomb Squad. We got the Doppelgangster. Just some nice 1/1s.
Squad feels so bad.
Yeah, Bomb Squad just feels abysmal, but you can also get an Earth Elemental. So, like, I remember there was one ridiculous game in a tournament a while back where I think it was either by Pavel or against Pavel. He played Firelands Portal and got Halaziel the Ascendant.
I remember that.
When his opponent couldn't kill it, and then just healed himself back to full over the next few turns. And I just remember seeing his opponent looking absolutely crushed.
Wasn't that at Worlds?
No, it wasn't at Worlds. It was at, like, I think it was at a Seat Story Cup. I remember seeing Pavel scurrying around it, so I'm pretty sure it was some kind of Seat Story. Yeah, this card was, like, it's kind of Secret Mage at the moment, sort of finisher card. They often prefer to run this instead of Pyroblast, just because Pyroblast is a really hard card to use against aggressive decks, while Firelands Portal is an incredible tempo card as well as just burn. Like, this card is powerful as hell.
Oh yeah.
And like this card is so powerful. It's in Secret Mage. It's often in Big Spell Mage. Like, you can use it with Medivh to incredible effect. Like, if you just have a Mage deck,
you're probably playing this card, yeah.
Yep, because, like, obviously very good with things like Dragon's Fury. This card is just an incredibly powerful card all around, and it will be hugely missed by Mage as a whole. So, guys, we've gone through what we think are our top 10 cards, which impacted the meta, but let's talk a bit about our own opinions. What card are you going to miss the most, Adam?
Oh, probably Swashbuckler. I hate to be a Debbie Downer, but like, I love that card. I know a lot of people hate pirates, but I like that guy. I love that guy. He's a good friend of mine. Also,
my boy.
Yeah. How about you, Dubs?
So, just like last week, I will miss nothing because I play Wild.
I
welcome them all. So they can come play with me.
You welcome them all? Even Barnes?
All of them. Even Barnes. I hate to say it. He's welcome.
Get him out of
Well,
here.
we all know, for me, Malkazar's Imp is going to be very, very missed for me.
Mr. Discard over here.
If I want to make the dream ever happen, I will make it happen in Wild. But from another perspective, the Netherspite Historian, I think, is probably going to be my most missed card. I love dragon archetypes. Not to Kibler level, but like almost there. I really do enjoy dragon decks, and that card really made them a lot of fun. So I will miss the Netherspite Historian.
Well, that's the answer I was going to give. So, Purify. I'm going to miss Purify the most.
Oh.
Yeah, no, I'm going to miss Netherspite Historian as well. I am Priest is being absolutely decimated with this rotation, and I'm going to miss Priest's time in the sun. And I think it's going to be signaled more than anything by the absence of Netherspite Historian, the card which makes Duskbreaker playable.
Yes.
So, on that, cards you're going to miss the least. Everyone
Barnes.
here knows what my most least missed card is going to be.
Barnes.
Barnes. Squirrel.
Barnes.
Yeah.
Barnes for me. Dubs.
Oh, it's Barnes. Yeah.
I mean, you still have to live with him, so.
Yeah, you
but
actually have to put up with Barnes forever.
I can go play in Standard for fun, and I will never have to pick up
Yeah,
because he won't.
Barnes, the worst thing that has happened to Hearthstone besides patches, without a doubt. And I hope that I hope for Wild's sake that they actually do something about the card, because it's quite untenable.
Well, it'll be next March because that's the only time they care about.
Yeah.
Next Wild
Well,
Open, maybe it'll happen.
This has been the second part of our awesome Year of the Mammoth retrospective for One Night in Karazhan. So thank you to everyone on the ATH team for putting all this awesome content together. We really like bringing this to you guys. So thank you so much for the people listening. We've had an amazing show today. We've had so much to talk about. I'm just going to try to make this quick. There are no new iTunes reviews this week. If you'd love to support our show in a way that doesn't cost any money, please head over onto iTunes and leave us a 5-star review and a nice little comment. And we'd love to hear from you. You can always reach out to us on email. We'd love to correspond with you there, or we're always chatting in our Discord channel. You can always find EK Designer and lots of our other people there, as well as us. So come on over to our Discord channel for exclusive information first.
Lots of silly deck lists.
Lots of silly deck
lists.
lists. And we have lots of really cool people who are hanging out in there. But you can always follow us on Twitter, Facebook. If you have Twitch Prime, we'd love to get a sub from you. That's another free way that you can help support the show. And we'd love to bring you some bonus content sometime soon. There might be an anniversary show in the works and some more content. And the way we could do that is with your support. So thank you very much for that. And with that,
oh wait, there is one extra little shout out I'd like to give.
Sure.
Of course, shout out as usual to Eco Designer. As you notice, we've got Witchwood overlays which look sick as, and the expansion was only like the trailer only came out some hours ago. EK is like a machine.
It's a tremendous job. Yeah, it's so good.
But it's not his job. He does this like because he is a fantastic friend of the show. We really appreciate all the work he does, and you should definitely go check out his Instagram or his Twitter, EK_designer. So on that, I think that is everything for today. Tune in next week for maybe some more expansion news, or just for our Year of the Mammoth retrospective, where we talk about Gadgetzan. So we've been around the hearth. Thank you for tuning in, and good night from everyone.
Good night.
Good week.
Bye, guys. See you later.